talent for bringing bizarre worlds to life has made him the go-to guy for TV, movies, and video games. Like what, you ask? Well, how about a little something called Star Wars Episode 3? Feng Zhu is here to give us an exclusive look at the final Star Wars movie. Please join me in welcoming Feng Zhu to the Screensavers. Hey!
Hey!
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming on. We're very excited to have some of your top secret stills here.
Yeah,
but before we get to them, let's talk about some of the projects that you've worked on. I mean, this isn't the only project you've done. You've done a lot of this type of concept art in the past.
Yeah.
Name some of those. What are some of the projects you've done?
Well, currently I'm doing stuff for Electronic Arts, some stuff for Activision, working on Duke Nukem 3D for 3D Realms, and Epic Games.
How's Duke Nukem 3D coming?
Well, I can't talk too much about it, but I love working with those guys over there. George Prasad, the guy I work with closely, he's a great guy, and the artwork I've been doing for him is really fun. So I've been loving that project, actually. So
tell me a little bit. I mean, we're looking at some of the stills now. Tell me some of the process that you go through in creating this. Is it, you know, the director comes to you and says, "This is what we're looking for," or do they, you know, just say, give you just a rough idea of what they want, and then you start designing?
Yeah, well, a little bit of both. What happens when on a film, the script comes in, and it's just a story, and the visuals are very, very non-descriptive. So the directors hire us and tell us what we want, and we go back and do our drawings, and then we meet with them again and see if that's what they want to see in the film. So
when, in case of Star Wars, they just gave you the entire script, or just pieces of it? Because I know they're very secretive when it comes to that kind of stuff.
Yeah, Star Wars, we got pretty lucky. We actually, when George finished writing it, we had pretty much access to the entire movie. Because for a film, it's very difficult to design without knowing the story.
Right.
Especially for this film, it's a lot darker, a lot moodier. We have to design the environments accordingly. You know, we can't be designing this happy world if something bad's going to happen there.
Right.
So, yeah.
So how did that work exactly when you were going back and forth? Let's take a look at some of the actual concept art right now. Let's flip this one around. All right.
There you go.
So this here, I mean, some of this looks familiar. I've seen some of this in the trailer, but then there's some stuff I haven't seen.
Yeah, so this is some art. Well, first I got to thank Lucasfilm for letting me show a lot of this stuff.
Definitely, no doubt about it. This is the first time anybody's seen these.
Yes, definitely. Outside the art department and IOM, these have never been seen. So what we have here is actually some Coruscant drawings. This shot you actually see in the trailer as Obi-Wan and Anakin walk down the stairs. You see that. So some of this actually pre-exists in the original movie. So what I just did is took some of the designs and added new elements to it. We got a little Jedi meeting room there. And down here is actually stuff that we did that never got into the film.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So this was all designed and you put it together, but it was actually just cut from the film and they never took it in.
Exactly. I mean, in the very beginning, George just wants us to do a lot of different designs, try different visuals, try everything we can.
Right.
And these are just some of the drawings that we did early on. And eventually these morph into what it is today.
Yeah, I was going to say, is this a very much, let's take a look at the next one, is this very much a back and forth process that you have with him? I mean, you'll design something, and then he says, you know, tweak this, change this. Is that how it typically works?
Definitely. Some designs, he looks at it right away and go, okay, that's exactly what I want. That's in the film.
Right.
But other ones, it takes a lot of back and forth. And Grievous took a while to design, for example, because he wants it exactly what he wants to see on the film. So,
okay. So here's some different droids that we have here.
Yep.
Was that a big deal for you? You had to just, you know, come up with a bunch of different new droid designs?
That's one of the first things I did when I got into the project, because we knew there was a big war going on in the universe, and there would be droids necessary for all these wars. So I was asked to do a bunch of these designs, just try out all sorts of variations.
That's awesome. So these are just, so how do you know exactly, does he tell you which ones are going to be included in the movie, or do you know if they're going to make it in?
Sometimes you do, because you can see here these little OK stamps. These are actually George's little personal OK stamps.
You got to be kidding me. So he actually just stamped this stuff.
Yep.
That's awesome. So right there is a little tiny OK that he stamped. So this guy's going to actually be in the movie.
Well, maybe, maybe not. But at least he made the cut to the next round.
Right.
But yeah, when we have meetings with George on Fridays, he'll bring in these little stamps, and a lot easier for the art department to see also what made the cut, because we introduce about 100 drawings a week.
Right. So tell me about these down here. These look a little bit different than your standard drawings.
I brought this to actually show the artists out there, the fellow designers who want to get into this industry, that up here where you see a lot of fun in games, we do droids, and it's very fun to generate this stuff. But this design here, this is Grievous, designed by Warren Fu at the art department. But I was asked to actually detail him out. You know, the design's existing, George approved it, but how do we make it work on screen? How does IOM rig him? You know, how do we animate him? So these drawings almost look like medical illustrations.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you have to take like an anatomy class or something like this? This is far more complex than just a standard, you know.
Exactly. This is a grueling work. This is not as fun as doing this, obviously. But you have to understand how designs work in 3D. How does it spin your head? How does joints work? Otherwise, you can't move this guy on screen.
Very cool. So, I mean, obviously it's very important to go to school for something like this, to get this level of experience.
Exactly.
Very cool. So let's take a look at some of this stuff here. All right. What's this now?
We got the Wookiee planet here, which is, I'm personally excited to see on screen.
Oh, this is really cool.
Really
I haven't seen a lot of this stuff. This is awesome. So we're getting some first-time looks here at the Wookiee planet.
No one's seen this. This is some early stuff we developed for their planet, their home world. Just a lot of different sets. Their bedrooms, for example. Where do they hang out? Just variations. The work you see here is just a very minor set of the overall stuff we generated for the film.
Interesting. So we can actually kind of, I don't want to talk about the storyline, but you can look at some of this stuff and get an idea of kind of what's going on during the story. That's awesome.
Yeah, exactly. Especially after we got the script, we started to fill the drawings with the elements from the script.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, let's see if we got one more here. Let's take a look at this one. Whoop. Oh, it's falling apart on us. There we go.
There we go.
All right.
Put it on there.
So tell me about this. What's going on here? This is looks like the final battle, right?
This is the battle. Everyone's seen the trailer.
Right.
You see a lot of volcanoes. So I did a lot of development work for this planet because they have this giant fight. Everyone knows there's a huge fight in this film, and they go from one area to another, to another, to another. And we have to actually plan this out on the design stage, so we know what sets we're going to build for the final battle. So these are just some drawings for that.
Now, is this something that, this is a little bit different than just designing standard droids or things of that nature. Did George come to you and say, I want it to look more like this type of volcano, or does he give you, like, clip art? How do you get some direction for something like this?
George actually, he has a little collection of images he has in this little folder, just mostly images of mountains and, classic lighting sometimes, and show that to us. And it's not really sometimes exactly what he wants, but it's the feeling he wants to get across.
Right.
So for something like a volcano, maybe he'll show us a dark street with a shadow across. He goes, I want this kind of mood in this environment. And we'll go and try to implement that, but with a Star Wars feel to it.
Very cool. So tell me about your design studio that you have.
Okay, I just started that with a fellow designer, James Klein, who's actually worked on films like a lot of Spielberg movies, War of the Worlds, and things like that. And he has a lot of film experience. I actually have a lot of video game background. So we're trying to combine our clients, all the clients we work with, and combine to one studio. So if there's ever a lot of jobs that requires 2 more people or 3 more people, a studio could be able to handle that versus right now by myself, I'm handling 3-4 projects at once, and it's pretty killer.
Yeah, I was going to say, you must take, how many people on the Star Wars film were actually working on designing this kind of stuff?
I started with about 4 people, eventually grew to about, I think, 9 or 10.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, thanks for being on the show. We appreciate it, Feng.
Cool.
Feng Zhu's art can be seen at his website. You got to check it out. It's artbyfeng.com. And his latest DVD, Concept Design, is also available on his site as well.